Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony, and today I'm playing Stardew Valley with my sister, as usual, and we are doing a deep dive into one of my all-time favorite shows ever, Gilmore Girls, because it's my birthday, and that's what I want to do. So today I'm recording this on July 28th, which is my birthday. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright, hello.
Hello.
Alright, so today we are doing a super deep dive into the show Gilmore Girls, which is a show that, gosh, when did Gilmore Girls debut? I forgot to write that part down.
I don't know.
It was the late 90s.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, you can look it up real quick.
I think it actually was 2001, wasn't it?
Was it really? I swear it was way before Matthew was born.
Oh, it was 2000.
Okay. All right, that makes sense, because I remember laying in bed
October.
when I still lived at home and watching it.
Yeah, it was October 5th, 2000.
Okay, yeah. So it was, and probably still to this day, probably I would say, is one of my absolute favorite shows.
Yes, same.
It is, if you've never seen it, stop watching this video right now, go to Netflix or wherever it is, watch
and go start it.
every single episode, plus
right now.
the Year in the Life reboot, and then come back and watch this video. Because we are going to spoil the hell out of every single detail of this show in this video. Every detail. So,
Alright, I'm so prepared for this.
Yeah, you do not want to watch this if you ever plan to watch Gilmore Girls. If you don't plan to watch Gilmore Girls, yes you do, so go watch it. So
either way, shut up. If you haven't seen it, go away.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, you should watch it. So what are we doing anyway, real quick, before I launch into this and never stop talking?
Well, I am about to go put slime in the community center, and then maybe we can just observe the community center and see what else we need and if we can get any of it.
Oh, okay. All right,
Okay.
Community center it is. There's probably some fish that I could probably go fish for.
Oh, probably.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to check. Well, I'll go to the community center with you. Okay, so anyway, if you have never heard of the show Gilmore Girls, it is a show that aired on the CW, which I think at the time wasn't called the CW, right? Wasn't it something else?
Yeah, it was called, I have no idea what it was called.
Yeah, I
but
can't
it was
remember
not
what it
called
was, but it was not the CW at that time. But what is now the CW. It was an hour-long, drama, sort of, but comedy. Is it an hour? It was an hour long, right?
Yeah, it was an hour long.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you would. Gosh, I need all the ocean fish.
It's definitely a comedy drama, a dramedy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's about a mother and daughter, and the mother, Lorelai, had her daughter, also Lorelai, because she said that if men can do it, so can she, and it's sexist to say otherwise. But they called her Rory. And she had her daughter at 16, and she came from a very wealthy family, and essentially ran away from home with the baby, which it doesn't tell you until much later on exactly when she runs away with Rory. It's kind of heavily implied that it's very soon after she is born, but in later seasons when we get flashbacks, we find out that it was actually I want to say she was probably around a year, right?
Yeah, she was a little baby.
Yeah. And then she goes to the small town called Stars Hollow and starts working at this inn called the Independence Inn as a housekeeper at first. There's a woman that owns it who which we don't see any of this. This is all off screen, but this is the backstory. But there's a woman who owns it and basically takes her under her wing, and by the time we join the show, Rory is 16 herself, and Lorelai is the manager of the Independence Inn. And the whole premise of the show is that Rory wants to go to Harvard originally, and in order to up her chances of going, she wants to go to this private school called Chilton. But of course, her mother, just being the manager of an inn, can't really afford to send her daughter to this ritzy private school. So she asks her parents to pay for the school, and her parents agree if her and Rory agree to come to dinner every Friday night at their house as like payment, which is just the grandparents' way of seeing their daughter and granddaughter. But the grandparents are very like typical, very rich, very like judgmental, kind of stuffy. Like that's how they come off. Of course, later on, of course, they soften up and there's touching moments and all that jazz. But in the beginning, you're shown that these are that all they ever do is criticize Lorelai, and Rory is like the apple of their eye, but Lorelai is kind of resentful of them from the way she was raised and doesn't want her daughter pulled into that life.
Yeah.
And the town that they live in is this like very tiny town in Connecticut, just full of quirky people.
Yeah.
And
adorable.
Yes, it's wonderful, and I want to live there. But okay, so basically what I did, Holly, is I wrote down every single relationship and like my thoughts on them. And then I also wrote down different stuff about like characters, just themselves. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote down some fun facts. And then I wrote down a few questions like towards the end, like best couple, worst couple, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna
very excited about this.
Yeah, me too. Like I literally, you guys, this morning I woke up and I was so happy because like I woke up, I didn't have the babies yet, they weren't coming till later. I made myself a cappuccino and then I just went on the Gilmore Girls wiki, and like I obviously some of the stuff I knew right off the top of my head, but I wanted to remember a few different details, so like just to remember each couple and like exactly like what happened, I like jumped down this rabbit hole and I was just giddy writing down all this stuff because I love the show so much. And,
it's one of my favorite shows ever. Like I rewatch it every single year starting in the beginning of fall, and it's my comfort show.
What's funny is I was actually going to start watching it just for fun, but then I got that call for that interview, so I just rushed out the door, and then the rest of my day was kind of hectic after that. But once the babies got here, there was no possible way I could turn on a show and watch it because they would have talked over me the whole time. But anyway, so
that feeling.
The very first couple on my list, obviously, is Rory and Dean.
Yep, first couple in the show.
Yep, exactly. So originally, when I first watched the show, Rory and Dean were my favorite. Like, I was like, they should have been together. I'm so mad. Like, I can't believe that, it ended this way. But then when I rewatched the show when I got a little bit older,
you realized
I was like, okay, they weren't that great. Like, number one, yes, in the beginning they were sweet. But even then, the first time he broke up with her, it was because she didn't say I love you back.
I know.
She was 16.
Yeah.
Like, have some patience. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, he was very pushy. Very, very pushy.
Exactly. And always, like slightly judgmental of her and Lorelai.
I was just going to say mildly condescending.
Yeah, yes, condescending. That's a really good way to put it. Like, like they tried to pair it as like, oh, he could join them for their movie nights and their this and that, but he kind of spent the whole time kind of being a dick,
Yeah, and I mean, like he fit their banter and everything.
He did.
Like, he could fit in, but he just wasn't. He clearly didn't have the same like passion for the things that they liked that they did.
Yeah, exactly.
He just kind of was there.
He was a good starter boyfriend, but he definitely was not someone that could have made it for the long haul. And then the whole thing with him, because like then later on in the show, Rory and Dean break up and he ends up getting married to a girl named Lindsay, and then he literally cheats on her with Rory.
He is such a scumbag.
Yeah, like
I feel so bad for Lindsay.
It is terrible, and I don't like that they kind of romanticized it and kind of like, which I mean they sort of didn't, because it was more or less like.
Yeah, Lorelai was like, "Oh hell no!" And
Lorelai was disgusted by her daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, she was straight up disgusted by her, and I know that it was more or less a plot point to get her closer to Logan at the time, but it still was terrible the way it ended up. And I will say though, in A Year in the Life, I am glad that they gave Dean a happy ending.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because he wasn't like a terrible, awful person.
Well, he was too young. Like, he was just young.
Uh-huh.
He was young and really stupid.
Yes, okay.
And he wasn't over Rory and just, like, jumped into that marriage to get over her, it seemed.
Exactly, just to get over her. Yes. And I will say Rory was not completely innocent in that, but I'll get to that more in the next couple, which I'm sure you can guess who the next couple is.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have more to say on Dean before we switch over to that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I will say that, like, we kind of already said, you know, he wasn't, like, a terrible guy, and, like, I like him as, like, a first kind of, like, getting her out of her shell.
Yes, for a starter boyfriend. He's very sweet, and, like, the whole dynamic is good, but the later on, Rory and Dean just is not.
Well, and he just seems kind of like, but even from the beginning, like, he's, like, too confident in himself. Not like people should be, like, down on themselves. I don't mean that, but just, like...
Yeah, he's borderline cocky.
Yeah, like, he just, like, you can tell that he's, like, I know she's gonna be into me, and, you know, like, I don't know, it's just weird the way that he approaches it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then the next couple is Rory and Jess. I hated them at first. I did. Because
the first episode that Jess was in, he was the worst.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even, like, the first time that I watched the show, I was not a Rory and Jess supporter. And I know that I'm, like, the minority because everybody loves Rory and Jess. I didn't. I thought that it was stupid, and I thought that he was literally just meant to be there to break up Rory and Dean, and I liked them, and so I was pissed. Yeah. And I was not a Jess fan. I obviously, you know, grew to love him later. But I will say that Rory and Jess made for some very funny moments. But Rory was the problem there. She really was.
You gotta explain who Jess is.
Oh, yeah. So Jess is a character that they bring on later on in the show. He is the nephew of... Well, people who are watching this have seen Gilmore Girls.
Oh, that's true.
So we're literally just doing a deep dive, like, to discuss the relationships and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you haven't seen the show, none of what I'm saying is going to make sense to you. You're not going to remember the characters' names. None of this is going to matter. So if you're watching this and you've never seen Gilmore Girls, genuinely, you shouldn't. Like, I'm not saying don't watch my video, because watch my video, but, like, watch Gilmore Girls, then come back and watch my video.
Right. Okay, well, then in that case.
Yes, because this video is specifically meant for people who have seen Gilmore Girls and want to discuss and debate the relationships and things like that.
Okay, so Jess, I did not... Okay, so the first episode, I hated him because I was like, holy shit, this kid is, like, he's just straight up rude. Like, he's so mean. Mm-hmm. Not even like just kind of like a sarcastic jerk. He's, like, straight up mean.
Yeah, he was just straight up cruel for no reason.
Yeah. And the fact that he came in, like, I still don't like the fact that, like, the only thing that softened him up was a pretty girl. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, that's not true. There was some stuff with Luke that, you know.
No, I just meant the first day.
Oh, yeah. The first day. But I think that was more... I don't think that was meant to be the thing that softened him up was a pretty girl. I think that was meant to show us that even though he's rude and rough, he actually isn't, and he's just a traumatized kid.
Yeah.
But see, and that's the thing with me is, like, the whole Rory and Jess relationship, originally, I was, like, mad about it and didn't like it. Okay, I feel like my volume in this game is way too loud, so hold on, I'm gonna turn it down. Okay. You can keep talking though, I'm just turning down my game volume, like, in the thing. I want people to be able to hear every single bit of this. Oh, shit. Okay, nope, I definitely... Ooh, okay, now I just made absolutely no music. I need to find, like, a happy medium here.
Okay, well, here's the thing is that, like, Jess, he's like that, it's like that whole stereotype where, like, you know, every girl has, like, the nice, sweet starter boyfriend, and then she moves on to the bad boy kind of thing, like...
Yeah.
Like, every girl has to experience these relationships kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think they were kind of trying to follow, like, that, like... But also, I loved their dynamic. I really, really did.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say, is, like, Rory and Jess's dynamic I thought was absolutely amazing. I don't necessarily think that he was the guy for her, but I very, very much liked their dynamic.
Yeah.
No, okay, I'm just gonna have to turn the sound volume all the way down because it's just way too loud in my ear and I can't handle it. So I'm sorry that you guys aren't gonna get any game music, but I cannot do it. Okay, anyway, so my whole thing is, originally, like, when I first watched the show, I kind of blamed Jess for a lot of it, but it was Rory. She was the problem. She got a crush on this guy, and she kind of treated her boyfriend like crap over it.
Oh, she absolutely did, yeah.
And so she was kind of fully at fault. And, I mean, he wasn't, like, a good boyfriend when they ended up dating, like Jess. Like, he took off on her numerous times and just... But I did like their dynamic, and I liked their friendship. Like,
yeah, I like
their
friendship, and I think that he was good. I think that's exactly it, is I think that they're really, really good as friends, and the fact that, like, he is just really straightforward with her and doesn't put up with her doing stupid stuff. Like, he tells her, like, this isn't you, like, when she does things that he's not gonna, like, tiptoe around her and, like, make sure he is careful with her feelings. He's just gonna tell her how it is, and I really, really love that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he was always very blunt with her.
Yeah, and, like, he matches her on, like, an intellectual level, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which, like, yeah, he's very much, like... And that's the thing with Dean, is they kind of painted him as, like, a dumb jock, sort of.
Yeah. Like, I never really saw him as dumb.
Not really
I just saw him
jock,
as not...
But, more like construction guy, I guess.
Yeah, like a dumb man.
Yeah. But, anyway, so... With Rory and Jess, they just were not ready to be a couple. I would call them, like, right person, wrong time situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And the new, like, the A Year in the Life kind of made you think that there might be a chance there, but that is also dependent on,
if they ever do it again. Like,
if they ever do it again, but it also is dependent on, another part.
Oh, yeah,
that we'll discuss.
Part that you haven't gotten to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what more do you want to say about Jess and Rory? Is there anything?
I want to say that, oh, okay, my chicken's fine. You already pet the chicken, huh?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, not really. Just that he was my favorite of all of, like, the guys, personality-wise, and the way he, like, treated Rory, because even though he was kind of, like, he took off a bunch of times and stuff, he was never bad to her. He just was very, like, unsure about, because he never had a stable relationship in his entire life, and he was really, like, afraid of it. Like, he didn't know how to...
the thing, is, like, when you watch it as an adult, you realize that this was a poor, traumatized kid who was sent to live with his uncle because his mother couldn't handle him. And then you meet his mother later, and she's a total scatterbrain. She's sweet, but she's a total scatterbrain.
Do you know who she reminds me of? And I don't want her to take offense to this.
Is it Tracy?
But she kind of... Yes.
Yeah, for real.
She reminds me of Tracy. Like, just such a sweetheart, and you love her to death, but holy shit, like, she stresses you the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so, you realize that he was just a... Lucas, turn that down! Jesus Christ.
That's so funny. I just texted Augie the same thing.
That's so funny. That he was just like a poor traumatized kid that, was basically thrust into this situation and didn't really know what to do, essentially.
Yeah. It's truly awful.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so that's it for Jess. And Rory and Logan, I'm probably in the minority, but they were my favorite.
Yeah, you're in the minority.
I know a lot of people didn't like them, but that was her only relationship that was mature. And
was it?
Yes, it was. When it comes to her age, at least. And Logan was... I mean, Logan could be a dick. Not really even a dick. Just kind of like a rich boy. I mean, he was just kind of... But he was... I mean, he never treated her badly. And he well,
But are we factoring in a day in, or I mean, the like
oh, I'm
when
getting to
they
that
came
one.
back?
I'm
Okay.
getting to that one. I'm talking in the original. I'll get
Oh,
to in the day or a year in the life in a minute.
okay. Well, then
Um,
in that case, I will say that I think that Logan is kind of what she needed at that point. I do.
yes, I liked Logan for her in that one.
Yeah.
Um, and that there were some problems, but they were amazing. But I don't know how much I love them in the reboot because
Yeah.
he had a fiance, she had a boyfriend, and they were still sleeping together.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously they're grown adults and they can do what they want, but like, Rory, come on. And like, they painted the whole boyfriend thing as like so funny because she just kept forgetting to break up with him. Ha ha ha, oh gosh, I keep forgetting he exists. Okay, but he does, and he's a person.
Yeah, like it's not really that funny.
It'll take you 2 seconds to shoot him a text. And he is engaged. And I mean, yes, he's engaged to some socialite that he doesn't actually love and he's supposed to marry because of his family and his money, but you spent the entirety of your time on the original Gilmore Girls proving that you were not that guy, that you were not just going to do what your parents wanted you or your father wanted you to do because of your last name, and then you turn around and do what your father wants you to do because of your last name.
Yeah, while cheating.
And then Rory pops up pregnant at the very end of a year in the life, and Logan is very likely the father.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's ever coming back, so we'll never know how that goes. But, like, in the original series, they break up because Logan proposes to her and she's not sure if she's ready. I was very upset by that. I understood why they did that because they didn't want to just have her marry some rich guy and become a high society wife and that's it. They wanted to send her off to do her own thing and follow the campaign trail and be a reporter and do all these things, or journalist, and do all these things that she wanted to do.
And like Lorelai would have like hated that so much if she had done that.
Yeah. So I can understand that. I really can. But at the same time, like, it kind of sucked because they were a really good couple and they just kind of broke them up for no reason, except for so that Rory could, like, they could have gotten engaged and she still could have went out on the campaign trail and he could have done his own thing and it could have been fine. Yeah. But I respect their decision to end it how they did.
Hold on just 1 second, okay?
Yeah. All I can hear is birds in this game. And for once I can't hear my own bird.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Okay. Okay, you say what else you have left to say about Logan, because I think I've ranted enough about Logan.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say that, like, okay, so, I don't know, it's just, maybe it's just, like, my bias towards the fact that he's just, like, he's not, I don't know, I think that I'm just, like, too much on Lorelai's side here, where I'm like, oh, really, like, you're gonna end up in that life where, like, you know, you're with this rich guy and you're like going to all of these high society parties and, you know, you're like the cute little
but the thing is, she wouldn't have. That wouldn't have happened. Like, that's not the relationship that they would have had.
No, probably not. But, like, that's where my brain went when I watched it.
Well, and that's where Lorelai's brain went too, whereas with me, I was like, listen, she's not going to do that. They would have a completely different kind of relationship, as was proven the entirety of their relationship.
Yeah, you know what I thought was really cute? I thought it was really cute when they went to the, like, beach house together.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, like, all, like, coupley and,
like... exactly. Domestic. And, like, she would stand up to Mitchum. And she would, you know what I mean? Like, she was not going to go be a high society wife. It wasn't going to happen. She was going to do her own thing, and...
And I really, really liked the way that Logan was with, Luke.
Yes, exactly.
Like, they got along really well, and he was, like, really helpful, and...
Yeah.
So. See, and I don't... that's the thing, is, like, I don't hate Logan and I don't hate the relationship. I just feel like he's just I don't know. He felt like he was just
because
kind
he was
of
rich.
well, because he was just like there was just something about his I don't know. Maybe I have bias because he was rich, but he didn't interest me the same way that like Jess did. Like he just wasn't as interesting of a character to me. I didn't find him as like complex and like deep, I guess.
Oh,
I feel like he was just kind of like not shallow, but just didn't have as much going on in his head. I don't know.
just because he didn't constantly sit around and read and write poems, but I mean, he was business savvy. So he was highly intelligent. He just was a business person instead of a poet or an artist or a writer. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I probably wouldn't have gone for the Logan, but I can understand, you know, like I liked the relationship. Let me know when you go to bed because I'm just standing here fishing.
Oh, okay, we can go to bed.
So, okay, and then I did add Rory's other sort of relationships, but not really. I'm just catching this fish real quick and then I'll be right in bed. There's Rory and Tristan, which, ick.
Yeah,
but honestly,
I'm so glad that he got cast One Tree Hill.
I was gonna say, I feel like if One Tree Hill hadn't have happened for Chad Michael Murray, Tristan was supposed to be like the Jess of, you know, of the show.
Yeah.
Like he was supposed to be like the jerk guy that turned out to have some sort of traumatic thing, and Rory would have ended up dating him for a while instead of Jess. Like Jess might not have even been brought on there.
I mean, I guess I could see how they would have done that, but like they didn't start him out the same way they started Jess, where like he was just kind of a jerk, but like still treated Rory nicely, and you know.
No, they didn't. But I still think that's where they were
bully.
going.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that Tristan was supposed to have much more of a role in there if he wouldn't have been cast on One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it would have been good or anybody would have liked it.
They did like the whole flirty thing between them, and they kissed and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't really into her and Tristan. I thought that whole thing was stupid, but it was clearly a plot point. And if I didn't like Rory and Jess so much, I like, or if they wouldn't have done Rory and Jess, like if it would have been Rory and Tristan, I don't think anybody would have liked it.
No.
And then there was Rory and Marty. So Rory and Marty, that friendship was great. It was such a good friendship.
Yeah, it was
they
a cute
were
friendship.
So fun. They hung out together, and I didn't love that they made Marty have a crush on her. But
no, because then that brought in the whole like I'm in the friend zone thing.
Well, yeah, and then so it was kind of annoying that like she couldn't just have a regular guy friend, and that they had to make him have a crush on her. But even that is typical that people get crushes on their friends. It happens, and even them not being friends anymore, and him introducing her to Logan and that whole thing. Yeah, fine. The thing that pissed me off with that, and that I just really hate, was when they brought Lucy and Olivia on, and they had the whole boyfriend story.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And I thought that was dumb to begin with. Lucy and Olivia were not my favorite, but we'll get to them later.
Yeah.
But the whole thing that irritated me with that is they could have brought him on as quote-unquote boyfriend, and he could have been like, oh my gosh, that's Rory. We were such good friends freshman year. I had a crush on her, but, obviously it didn't go anywhere, and, I'm so glad I have you now. That's great. Let's all be friends. And Rory and Marty could have gotten their friendship back without any of the weirdness because now he's with Lucy. Instead, they made it this weird storyline where Marty pretended not to know her, and then Lucy...
And she just, like,
and then Logan outed them because he was like, why are you guys doing this? This is weird. And straight up said, I know Marty because Rory introduced us because they were friends. And then Lucy melted down like it was the biggest deal in the goddamn world that her boyfriend knew her friend before her. And yes, it's a little weird, but you couldn't have just said, that's weird, why would you lie? And then Rory could have said, he pretended not to know me, I panicked, I'm sorry, it was weird. And then she could have said, yeah, that's weird, don't do that. Like,
yeah, they could have played it realistically.
Yeah, and instead it was the biggest dramatic deal on the planet. It was so stupid. I hated everything about that storyline. And I was genuinely annoyed because I really, really liked Marty and Rory's friendship. And they could have just let them still be friends. Like, he didn't have to be a regular on the show. He didn't have to always be there. But they could have, you know, occasionally thrown him into a scene or two and let them be.
Well, they didn't even give Lane, like, Lane didn't have that much screen time, but she was still a big part of the show.
Exactly. And it just, I don't know. That whole thing really, really, really genuinely annoyed me. I hated it. Like, I hate everything about that whole
It was
situation.
really dumb.
I literally wrote after that, hate. Like, that's how annoyed I am by that whole scenario. Okay,
what do we have going?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So that's it for Rory's relationships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all of Rory's relationships. So up next we have Lorelai, her mother. The first one is Max and Lorelai.
Oh, yep.
Max Medina was Rory's teacher at Chilton, and Lorelai met him during parent-teacher night at school and eventually dated him, and they were engaged, and then she ran away. I wasn't really a huge fan of Max and Lorelai. Like, it was sweet. The whole thing was sweet, but the whole thing was kind of way too quick and kind of
forgettable.
Yeah, forgettable. Honestly, like, he did a lot of sweet gestures, and the whole thing was sweet. But literally, it was just basically a plot device for Luke to build her that what do you call it?
Archway.
Yeah, but it has a name.
Oh.
I can't remember the name of it, but he built her like a wedding thing because he loves her. And I mean, just it was just kind of, that was like the first season. They were done and over with by the end of the first season, and it was just kind of like, and that's the whole thing, is like, they didn't even make it through the school year and they were already engaged. Like, that was way too quick. The whole thing was just, it was too fast.
It was.
It just was not. It was forgettable, like you said. So then up next we have Jason and Lorelai, which I'm kind of out of order with this, I think.
I could go with Jason too, probably, but
Jason, I kind of hated the whole thing because, like, it was kind of immature. Oh, we can't tell my parents we're dating. You know, you're business partners with my dad. Now you're suing my dad, so I'm breaking up with you. Like, it was stupid. I did like.
Well, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it was just like a way to show that, like, Lorelai still has like a lot of, she hasn't like fully matured out of her teenage rebellion kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like another way of showing that, like, she still just hasn't gotten. Oh no, Stardew Valley stopped working.
Oh gosh. Oh, well, good. Okay. Start working again.
Okay.
While we chat. But yeah, like, the whole thing with Jason, like, I did think that, like, the whole Luke Duke thing was funny. Like, him constantly, like, picking at Luke and getting under his skin and calling him Duke, and, you know.
Yeah, you could tell that he knew that something was going on there, and he had some sort of animosity towards him.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, the fact that, like, they bantered together well because they'd known each other since they were kids, and they kind of still talked to each other like they were, like, kids.
Yeah.
Was amusing, but as a whole, the relationship was just kind of dumb.
It really was. I wasn't a fan, and it was another one that it was really forgettable for me.
It was, yeah. It was genuinely forgettable. It was not something that I really cared too much about. I didn't see anything really all that great about the Lorelai and Jason relationship. Digger, as she called him.
Yeah.
And then we have Lorelai and Christopher, which is Rory's biological father.
I have so many feelings about that.
I loved Lorelai and Christopher as co-parents. They got along so great.
I loved Christopher as a person.
Yes, I love Christopher. I loved their co-parent relationship. I thought that it was lovely to see them get along so well, and, you know, there was no, like, drama. There wasn't animosity. It was just, I mean, you know, she would go off on him when she needed to, but it wasn't like...
And you could tell they had so much comfort with each other that, like,
exactly.
she could.
Yeah, it wasn't bitterness. It was literally, I know you well enough to know that I can say this to you and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And, like, it reminded me of, like, how me and Matt are now, or reminds me of how me and Matt are now.
Yeah.
That, you know, we're friendly with each other. But I did not like them as a couple.
No.
And...
No. I was mad that they even tried
did that at all. Yeah. I was very irritated by that. And when Sherry got pregnant, I thought that, like, the whole storyline with Sherry was funny. She was hilarious because she was so neurotic. And, you know, her having this baby and just being completely, like she was so the opposite of, like, Christopher with her, like, so high-strung and so, like, and the opposite of Lorelai, for that matter. Wanted everything scheduled, and it was just very funny. And I know that, like, that was supposed to be heartbreaking for Lorelai because her and Christopher were going to be together, and then, you know, he's pregnant and he's getting married to her and blah 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 blah. And but it was funny. Like, Sherry was funny.
Yeah,
and then,
I liked her.
Yeah, and then they had her leave and abandon her child.
Yeah.
And
which was out of character.
I mean, I don't know if it was out of character.
You don't think it was out of character?
For Sherry, not really, because she was, I mean, obviously anybody abandoning their child is kind of out of character for me, but she was very much like, oh, I'm gonna have this baby and then get back right to work on Monday, and, like, she's not scheduled to come yet. What is she doing? She's ruining my day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Basically, from the moment that kid was born, she was pretty vocal about how the child better follow her schedule.
I guess that my whole thing was just that she was such a perfectionist that I figured she'd want to be, like, a perfectionist at parenting too, you know, like...
Yeah, but she seemed more like she was,
self-involved?
Yeah, like, she was more of a perfectionist with like, her own life. She's, like, very type A, but that doesn't necessarily make for a... But, I mean, she did end up, getting Gigi back, like, having Gigi come and stay with her, and, she didn't fully leave her. She just, I think, probably panicked a little.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was, I thought that it was good that they broke up and were able to remain, like, friendly. But
where does Gus live?
Who? Gus?
Yeah.
Gus runs Stardew Valley. Or Stardew, no, what is it called?
The store?
No, the pub.
Oh, okay.
But one thing that I found out when I was, like, researching all this is Lauren Graham and Kelly Bishop wanted Lorelai and Christopher to be the end game.
Did they really?
Yep, they did. They thought that they would be the best together, and I wholly disagree.
I do too, and, like, Luke. But, I mean, Luke actually wasn't supposed to be a series regular.
Exactly. So maybe that's why, like, they wanted, like, maybe they just felt like families belong together kind of situation,
Yeah.
But I don't think that it would have been a good show if they would have left Lorelai and... I mean, it would be a good show no matter what, but you know what I mean. I don't think that it would have been the show that it was. So, of course, that brings us to the main couple, Luke and Lorelai.
Yep.
And obviously, I love them. Mostly.
So much. Well, there's problematic things, but...
Yeah. I loved their friendship, especially, like, in the beginning when it's just, like, when their banter. Like, I loved every single thing about it. I loved the way that they had them become a couple, like, slowly over time, and then, all that stuff. What I didn't love was the Christopher stuff. All the stuff with Christopher, I absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
The whole, which, I mean, I guess that's not really a Luke thing. That's a... Christopher and Lorelai thing, but I hated that they even did that. I thought that it was stupid, and I was very mad. I get that they wanted to do a slow burn, but damn, dude.
No, it was like, yeah, but it was like a slow burn, and then it creeped up to the right place, and then it like it
Yeah,
was
and then
completely
they were
thrown
just
off
like,
track.
nah, what's the matter, baby? And okay, so I know that we're going to get more deep into the April storyline later, but I will say the one thing that I hated when it came to Luke was how he handled the April thing. How
Yeah,
he literally told Lorelai that she couldn't even be involved at all, yet she's supposed to be his fiance.
yeah.
Like, I get
couldn't
that you're trying to get to know your daughter and that things are kind of iffy with her mother, but like,
well, and the way that her mom was about it was really
Anna
stupid too.
was a bitch.
Yeah,
I hated Anna. But as a
yeah.
side note, did you know that Anna was also Sasha in the one episode that they did with Jess where he went out to California to see his dad, Jimmy, and his Jimmy had that fiance or girlfriend or whatever she was. I think it was his dad's fiance,
Oh,
Sasha.
was she really?
Yep, that was the same
Wow,
woman. They were played by the same person, only she was blonde in that episode.
that's
And they liked
nuts.
her, and that show never got picked up by the CW. Like the spin-off show with Jess never got picked up by the CW.
Really tried to find a place for her in the
And
show.
so they decided to give her another role because they liked her.
All right. They gave her a really awful role
They
for
really
somebody
did.
that they liked.
Yeah, they really did. But I loved that that no matter what, even like when they were broke up and like she was marrying Christopher and that whole thing, her and Luke stayed friends-ish. You know, they were helping each other and their friend. You know, even when she was avoiding going into Luke's for coffee, she still would like come to his rescue when he needed her, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like I love that they never like got rid of that aspect, and I'm very, very, very glad that they ended up together.
Me too.
I don't think that it should have been any other way.
No, I absolutely don't.
I have genuinely no idea what to do right now.
It would have felt so. Yeah, me either. I'm trying to fill up the community center, but
Me too. I want to catch fish, but I feel like I'm not. I'm gonna go try to catch some lake fish, I think. And you know what? I'm just gonna cut this stupid grass because our chicken is not eating it,
No.
and I would rather just get the hay.
Pickaxe, upgrade soon, maybe?
Yeah, we really need to upgrade our pickaxes.
So maybe I should make some gold things.
Uh,
Do I need gold?
yeah, we need 5. We need 10 total of the gold.
Okay.
But yeah, so I loved Luke and Lorelai. Like, obviously, they were the best couple ever known to man, in my opinion. Well, no, that's not true. They actually aren't the best
You just
couple.
have to take the same
But
password.
they were the best couple for Lorelai.
Yeah.
So then there's honorable mentions for Lorelai. There was the Lorelai and Alex relationship, which was very brief. It was just like a few dates or whatever.
Oh, whoops.
There's really no issue with that, but that one was just kind of whatever. Wasn't really memorable. And then next we have Lane.
Yeah,
And there's Lane and Dave. Lane and Dave, I loved them. I loved them
too.
They were
really
my
wish
favorite.
They could have stuck around.
I thought they were so cute. I wish they could have stayed together, and I'm really mad at the OC for stealing Adam Brody away.
Me too. That relationship should have been like the thing where like, you know, they all like there was that one relationship that just lasted through all of high school.
Yep.
And
that should have been them.
That should have been them 100%.
They were so good, and I loved them so much, and I genuinely mourn for Lane and Dave. I'm sad about them. Lane and Henry Cho. They were cute.
I know they were cute.
But they were obvious from the get-go that, you know, they were not going to be together because he was perfect for her, like, by her mother's standards. And so, obviously, Lane was not going to marry a guy that was perfect for her by her mother's standards. It wouldn't happen. That wouldn't fit Lane.
No.
Like, she needs to date someone that her mother 100% disapproves of at first.
Yep.
And so, you know, but they were a cute little first relationship.
For sure.
And then you have Lane and Zach. They're not my favorite.
No.
I don't have anything against Zach. I just love Lane and Dave.
Well, I just also feel like, and I don't, it's not any, like, I don't want to insult Zach or anybody like him, but I just feel like Lane's too ambitious for him.
It's interesting that you say that you don't want to insult Zach because I wrote down that I like that, or, I did like them, and I liked how Zach handled Mrs. Kim, but he was kind of a whiny man child.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because it's true. He
is
whined
true.
all the time. Even when they were getting married, when they were pregnant, the whole thing. He just whined.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I feel like she had a lot going for her. She, like, was really, like, driven and, like, to, like, be herself and, for her band and everything. And then she just ended up with a guy who...
Yeah, having babies and...
Yeah, it didn't seem like the ending that she should have gotten.
Exactly. Like
she didn't even want kids.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't even, like, go to college, like, nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, I know that it's, like, kind of realistic.
Yeah.
But it's sad.
It just, it feels like she just didn't get what she deserved, I feel like.
No,
but I mean,
not.
I guess she was happy or whatever, supposedly.
After a while, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they worked out and, that everything went well simply because I love Lane.
Yeah.
And, whatever. So, they're, I don't know. I feel like there could have been better things for Lane, but that's okay.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will say that Sebastian Bach as Gil joining her band was the highlight of my life. Because Skid Row was my favorite band, Gilmore Girls was my favorite show, and there's Sebastian Bach just
rocking,
there,
existing,
rocking out on my favorite show every week. And it made me so beyond happy to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Lane's relationships. And then next we have Suki and Jackson. And
Suki and Jackson.
Suki and Jackson are by far the best couple on that show.
They really are.
They are the most stable. They are the most loving. They are the longest running. And they just... And the funny part is... Jackson was supposed to just be a temporary character.
Yep.
But his like chemistry with Melissa McCarthy was so good that they kept him on and made him a series regular. But my favorite storyline with Suki and Jackson was the one where he knows that Suki's pregnant and, she doesn't realize it because she thinks he had a vasectomy, and he tells Lorelai, and, like, Suki gets so mad at him, and it's I love that. I love that storyline. So, yeah, I really like that, and I'm very glad that they just kept them together and didn't give them, any kind of, crazy drama.
Yeah, they didn't have any crazy drama.
Yeah, their biggest drama was him saying, oops, I didn't really have a vasectomy, haha, you're pregnant, and she was like, I'm so mad at you, but I still love you, and I love this baby. And that was it. That was her drama. It was great. So, they genuinely...
And I even loved the way they started, where they were just they worked together and they just kind of bickered. And...
Yeah, they bickered, but they were still very respectful of each other. It wasn't even like they were rude and mean to each other, and then no, they bickered, but you could tell that it was underlying, almost flirting.
Yeah.
And it was very, very sweet. From day one of that show, when the minute Jackson walked on that screen, him and Suki were great together.
Yep.
So now we're on Paris's relationships.
Oh, geez.
So we have...
Paris in general.
Paris in general is just so much. I love Paris. She is absolutely insane, and I'm so glad that they kept her on there. Well, I shouldn't say kept her on there, because we'll get to that later, because she was always going to be on there. But I'm glad that it went how it went.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't just keep her character that they developed that friendship.
Yes, exactly. That she had major character development throughout the show.
Yeah, because you could see from the beginning, even when Rory first met her, that she was how even when you first watch them interact, it's how do you not have more respect for her than you do for your friends with?
Yeah, exactly.
You match intellectually and you match ambition wise, and
yes, I really like the way they developed her and Rory's friendship.
Yeah,
where she was basically forced herself onto Rory, and Rory was like, okay, I guess we're friends now. Like, this is how this is going to be because you are just completely insane, more or less. So we have, first off, Paris and Jamie. And I loved Paris and Jamie. They were so sweet together. Jamie was an absolute angel. He never did anything wrong, and he was so perfect and wonderful. And I am still so mad at Paris. She did him so dirty.
Yep,
she was
really
so
did.
mean to him. And I get that they were never going to actually last because whatever, first relationship, yada, yada, yada. But I loved Jamie.
Yeah, me too. And he had so much patience with her.
He did, and he was just so sweet. And he literally... and she broke up with him on his birthday.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
On his birthday. I'm still so mad about that. Like, she
was not good with social
anything.
She was
not. And I still love Paris, but Jamie was such a sweetheart.
Yep.
He did go on to play on General Hospital after that, though, which was funny.
Oh, did she really?
He did. As Johnny Zakara, who was like a mob guy. Like, very funny.
Oh.
Very, very opposite of Jamie. It was very hard for me to get used to that. But so then, I wrote down that he was too good for Paris, honestly, he was.
Oh, yeah, he was.
I just loved him. So, there's that. And then we have Paris and Asher.
Oh, jeez.
Who was her 60-something, 60-something, right?
Yeah, Asher Fleming. Yeah, he was...
like 60-something.
He was old.
He was a friend of Rory's grandfather.
Yeah.
He was her professor, who she had an affair with. Well, not an affair, because he wasn't married, but she called it an affair because, that sounds more European.
Well, and he was her teacher, so...
Yeah, I guess it would be,
wrong.
Technically a... But that was gross and terrible, and I hated it, and I am pretty sure that it was just a means to, like, break up her and Jamie and just to have Paris do something like that, because
it seems Paris.
Yeah, exactly. But it was gross and terrible, and I hated it. And then there's Paris and Doyle. I liked Paris and Doyle together, of course.
I liked them together too, but I didn't like either of them. Like
as people,
I mean, I didn't dislike Paris, but I didn't.
Yeah, but she's not. Yeah, she's Paris. Like she's an acquired taste.
Yeah. You didn't get the chance to. You got the chance to see other sides of her and see nuances to her.
Yeah, but honestly, Paris and Doyle were perfect for each other.
Yeah.
He was a good match for her, and my favorite thing, my thing that honestly made me like Doyle was when Paris went all crazy and couldn't decide on which major she wanted and decided that her best bet was just to dump Doyle because she wasn't going to let some man sway her decision, and he was straight up like, absolutely not. Wherever you go, I will follow you. We will just do what you need to do, and you're not leaving me, and I don't care what you say.
Yep.
And I thought that
you're not going to leave me in a moment of panic. That's not how this is going to happen.
Exactly. And I thought that was very sweet.
Yes.
And I did like that. That kind of made me like Doyle because he literally was like, oh no, I know what you're doing and you're not going to do it. So good luck and nice try.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. But I will say, a year in the life, I was very sad that Paris and Doyle were divorcing.
Yeah, but also not surprised.
No, not at all surprised. I was more surprised that they lasted that long. Because, she should have been on her third husband. But instead she had 2 kids and was still an overachiever, a doctor and a lawyer, and thought that her husband was beneath her, which was kind of terrible. But also very Paris.
Yep.
And that's it for the main relationships, unless you can think of any that I forgot. I didn't go into, all of Luke's relationships because, Luke and Rachel and that whole thing, because I didn't really care about any of them.
Yeah. I mean, not really. I will say that I felt so bad for Paris when she, had a crush on Tristan, and he was like...
Yeah, and he was so...
He was, not even mean. Well, it was, mean,
dismissive.
But it was, yeah. It was, patronizing.
Yeah, how cute that you have a crush on me, but you're ridiculous to think I would ever give someone like you a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was, like, nice to her and, like, oh,
sweetheart.
Adorable little girl with a school crush.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so, yeah, I was not a super fan of that situation.
No.
Okay, so now I'm just going to go through some of the characters that maybe we haven't really talked about. Babette. I love Babette.
I love Babette.
She was always so funny.
She was so much fun. I want to know about that so bad.
Right, exactly. And then Miss Patty, same thing. She was just very funny and, always a little bit of comic relief. Liz and TJ. What are your thoughts on Liz and TJ?
Well, like I said, Liz, I thought, was a very sweet person, but stressful and just a lot.
Yep, very scary.
Probably should have been put on some kind of medication at some point because
yes,
she needed to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And TJ, I thought was just an innocent doofus.
I loved TJ.
Like, yeah, he was just he's like that like uncle who like comes around and tells you really stupid jokes and you're like, oh geez, like, and you laugh because he's adorable.
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly. He was so like sweet and just always meant so well.
Yeah, he really did. And I thought that he was great because he had like a lot of patience for what some people don't have patience for.
Yes, exactly. he was genuinely just a sweet guy.
Yeah, I was a big fan of his, and I'm glad that they went that way with his character instead of making her be with like a jerk.
Me too. I'm so glad that they ended up bringing Liz on and making her just be like a sweet, lovable person who was just a little bit of a flake.
Yeah.
And
because then you're like
just the sweetest husband.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, like, okay, I see why Jess is like has a good heart, but feels so unstable. And
exactly. What are you doing right now? Opening geodes?
I bought some hay because we need it for the bundles.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I just bought a little bit of it.
And then there's Michelle.
Yep. I love him.
I adore Michelle. I love him so much.
I love him. He's great.
He is so funny and so like his sense of humor. He's got like that dry sense of humor.
He's got British humor. That's
Except what's really funny is he's Canadian. Well, Michelle himself is French. But
yeah, but they give him that dry like European humor.
They do, yes, and they nail it so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that he's very, very funny. Okay, and then now we have Lucy and Olivia. And I just
no.
I get that they threw them on there because Rory needed some other friends and they needed to show like her having more of like a, I don't know,
party.
They wanted to give her like some quirky friends that she could do different things with and blah 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 blah. But I just
could have done it better.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Like, especially
they could have made them likable.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the whole like, the whole thing that happened. I don't know. I wasn't a super fan of that whole situation.
Well, it doesn't seem like the type of people that it didn't feel natural because it doesn't feel like the type of people that Rory would hang out with. It seems like the type of people that she'd kind of roll her eyes at and be like, "Oh my god, you guys are a lot," you know, like.
So
like
being which nice I think was supposed to be the point. Is it was supposed to be like not her typical type of people, and I don't know. I didn't love them. I could have done without them.
They could have gotten her like not her typical type of people, but made them like likable.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't that likable.
No.
And then there's Taylor Dozy.
Yep. Taylor. He was obnoxious.
Yep. I love to hate him.
Yeah.
Like he's the guy that you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this guy, but I also love that he's on the show because he's such a menace.
Yeah,
and then
he adds to the show.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Kirk.
Oh, Kirk! I love Kirk.
I love Kirk. Kirk is so funny, and I loved him and Luke's like relationship. Like,
yeah, me too.
Him and Luke were so funny to me. Like Luke was so like he did not want to be his friend and help him, but he had to anyway. It was kind of like originally Rory and Paris.
Yes, exactly. Where like he had a soft spot for him because he was like, I get it.
Yep, exactly. And I also loved him and Lulu.
Do we need 10 for each of us, or 10 for, like, both of us to do our pickaxe?
No, 10 total. 5 and 5.
Okay, then we can go upgrade our pickaxe.
Okay, do we have the money?
I don't know. How much is it?
I'm not sure. We'll have to go see. It might be 5,000. Okay. It might be 2,500.
Okay.
If it's 5,000, then we're going to have to take turns.
Okay. Yeah, I loved them too.
Yeah, I loved him.
I thought she was just so cute and so sweet and so supportive of all of his weirdness.
And I'm so glad that they stayed together.
Me too.
Like, I'm so glad that they didn't break them up and they just let them stay together. That was the best. Yeah. That made me so happy. And then we have Richard and Emily, which are the grandparents.
Who I love.
I love Richard and Emily, and I love that they, like, slowly, like, showed that they weren't as, like, cold and, you know, like, especially with the whole, like, divorce arc.
How hurt. Yeah, well, and where you could just, like, slowly see how hurt she was by...
Yes. By everything that happened.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a lot of money.
How much is it?
10,000.
Oh, okay, so we don't even have enough money for that yet.
Nope, I'll just have to put the gold bars in there.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll just have to...
But yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go fish in the lake, or no, river? I don't know where I should fish.
And what else I love is, like, you know, at first they painted as, like, oh, she's so the complete opposite of her mother and whatever. Mm-hmm. But then you, like, the more you get to know them, the more you can see that she got her snarky, like, sarcasm from her mother.
Yes, exactly.
Like, she is just as witty, she's just more proper about it.
Yeah, exactly. She's more proper about it. She, you know, she plays her role the way she's meant to.
Yeah.
But I love the whole dynamic with the whole family. Like, I loved it. I thought that everything about that was great.
Yep, same.
Okay, so now I have some fun facts about the show.
Okay.
Which most of these I'm sure you'll already know. But Kirk was Mick in the first episode that he aired in, which was episode 2 of season 1. And then in episode 3 of season 1, he was the Swan guy, and then later on he became Kirk.
Yeah.
Which
they just decided they liked him and just were like,
well, and I think that he originally wasn't supposed to be like as big of a character as he was. I think maybe they had planned on him just being like different role. I think I actually read once that they planned on him being different roles in like every episode, but then they decided that they wanted him to just be one role and like have an actual like bigger role in the show instead of being like a bit character that just showed up on occasion.
Yeah, but they still wanted him to change jobs constantly.
Yes, like, exactly. Yeah, they still wanted Kirk to be just completely off the rails, but they wanted him to have an actual established storyline and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And hold on, I'm fishing and I don't want my fish to die or my fish to come off the thing. And then the next fun fact is that Paris was written especially for Eliza Weil.
Oh, really?
Yep. She originally auditioned for Rory.
I didn't know she auditioned for Rory, yep.
And they loved her, but not as Rory, so they literally wrote the role of Paris specifically for her.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. And I already said that Jackson wasn't supposed to be a regular. Alexis Bledel does not like coffee, so her cup always had pop in it.
Yep, I knew that.
And occasionally Lauren Graham's had water because if she drank too much coffee, she would be a spaz. Which honestly fit the character. Yeah, but you know, I think that like it made her like a little bit too shaky. Jess was actually brought on the show as a means to delay the Luke and Lorelai pairing, just to like put a little wrench in their relationship, and then they ended up, you know, pairing him with Rory and that whole deal. Spanish is Alexis Bledel's first language. Oh. Yep.
I would not have guessed that.
Yep. She apparently did not even learn English until she was in preschool.
Wow.
Yep. Her parents only spoke Spanish to her at home.
That's so cool.
I know. I did not know that one, but there's the one part where she's trying to learn Spanish and she's terrible at it. And so she had to like fake not knowing her first language, which is really
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
No, they did that on purpose.
And Lorelai loves snow, which everybody knows about that, but especially the first snow. Hold on. I'm trying to move things around here.
I think I'm about to finish one of those.
I already said Lorelai named Rory after herself because it's sexist for only men to do it.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all my fun facts that I had. So now here's my questions. Who, in your opinion, is the best couple on the show?
Jackson and Suki.
Yep, I agree. Jackson and Suki are the best couple on the entire show.
Yep. They are adorable. They last. They work things out in a healthy way.
They are very healthy. They are sweet. Everything about them is just wonderful.
Yep.
What about the worst couple?
Ooh, that's tough. Why is that so tough? I want to say... Hold on, I'm trying to, go through them over, in my head again quickly. I don't know. Who do you think is the worst?
The worst couple... Hold on, because I had it written down. It literally said worst couple right on it. Let's see if I can... Paris and Asher.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah. I want to say, though, I really, really disliked, Lorelai and Jason as a...
Oh, yeah, Lorelai and Jason were awful, too. Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I really hated them, too. Who did I write hate next to? Who was that? I know that I wrote hate next to something. That might have been the Marty thing, though.
Oh, yeah, that was the Marty thing, yeah.
Yeah, where I wrote hate, yeah, that was the Marty thing. So that wasn't really them.
I just finished the spring foraging bundle.
Oh, nice. What was the reward for it?
Spring seeds.
Oh, nice. Okay, so who do you think had the best character development on the show?
Jess.
Jess?
Yep.
I would probably say Jess too, or Paris.
Paris had good character development, but she stayed pretty.
Yeah, Paris, I guess that's true. Paris did stay pretty consistent. So yeah, I would definitely probably agree with Jess. Who do you think had the worst character development on the show?
Rory.
For real, she did. I know you're supposed to love her because she's the main character, but
yeah, she just got shittier and shittier through the series, and then by the time the new one comes around, it's just who the heck is this person and why am I supposed to root for her?
Yeah, I love her and I love the show. But
yeah, I still love her.
But I love her in the way that I love my sister even when I want to punch her.
Yeah, you watched her grow up, so you have a soft spot for her, but
what are you doing and how can we make you stop doing it?
Yeah.
So, oh shit, I forgot my inventory's full.
Oh wow, I have 30 of these spring seeds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, hopefully we have time for them to actually grow.
Yeah, we do. It's only the 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was it. That was all that I had written down. So what would you like to add?
Well...
questions or debate topics or...
I want to know if you, if they were to bring the show back, where would you want them to be?
Well, I would want...
Because you know that they'd skip ahead some years.
Yeah, I would want Luke and Lorelai to still be married.
Yep.
I would like to know who the heck the father of Rory's child is and how that whole thing went on, but I don't know what I want for her. I don't know when it comes to her because I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm torn when it comes to Rory on what I would want. I feel like I would kind of want to see what happened after the whole baby bombshell and who it is and kind of figure out how it should go from there. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I would like to see what Zach and Lane are doing with their lives. And, like, I would hope that, like, something came of them. Like,
I would want to see Lane at least, like, be, like in, like, a wedding cover band. Or at least something, you know? Like, something where she could be home and be a mom, but still, like...
Yeah, and I mean, her kids would be much, much older now.
Yeah.
And, you know... So I don't know. I would like...
Or maybe her kids would be in a band and she'd be their band manager.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a band manager mom. That sounds kind of iffy. But, you know, something. Like, some sort of... Oh, shit. What am I doing?
Yeah, but it would be... Yeah, but then they could play that, like... They could play, like, that dynamic where, like, she's the band manager and she's kind of micromanaging and the kids get annoyed and, like, she realizes that she's acting like her own mother and...
Yeah,
like, by, like, micromanaging her kids. They could play it fun. They could, you know...
Yeah, that is true. They could definitely... Okay, I'm going to go... Before I turn in these fish, I'm going to go to the community house because I guarantee that I have fish that need to go in these bundles.
I hope so. We need a chub for something.
Do you have a chub? I have so many chubs.
Oh yeah, there you go. We need one.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
I think it's going to finish a bundle too.
Perfect. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know where I would want to see everyone.
I would want, I think I would want for Rory to have like a, you know, like a job just like at a local paper, but she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
I would want for, I don't know, I think it would be kind of like cool if they did a thing where like she had the baby and it did turn out to be like Logan's. And like, but her and Logan just kind of co-parented and they weren't really like together.
Yeah.
So she had to do like the single mom thing with like the dad who was kind of involved, but like not always there, you know, kind of like how she was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And she had kind of
perfectly.
like, yeah, and she had like kind of a cool dynamic, you know, starting to go with her kid, but you know, just kind of like a similar type deal.
Yeah, basically like redo the show, but you know, not redo the show, but like.
Yeah, different struggles, different this and that, but
yeah.
You know, she's the single mom who's still kind of trying to find her right one, and wouldn't it be crazy if her right one ended up to be like the same way, like Jess with, you know, like, I don't know, I think it would be cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, also, I want to know, did you like hate the whole Rachel story? I mean, not Rachel, April storyline?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
April herself, I didn't hate. I thought I liked the actress already. I thought that she was sweet. I didn't mind them giving Luke like a random super like I don't know.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like just like the way she was, like her personality, like very like a lot child that he had to like suddenly deal with. I hated the fact that number one, the mother didn't bother telling him like what is wrong with you. Number two, I did not like the way they like. I didn't like the way they handled it. Like I didn't mind the child herself, and I didn't mind them, you know, suddenly, especially because I think they made it clear that they were not going to be giving Lorelai a pregnancy, so they wanted Luke to have a kid. And they wanted to, you know, have like a Luke as a parent dynamic in there because Rory was already in college at this point. And they wanted another obstacle for Luke and Lorelai. And I get that, and that's fine. But I did not like the way they handled it. It could have been so much better done. I hated the whole Anna just being just awful. Just
did
so
you know
much
that?
Of it.
How do you say her name? Vanessa Morano?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that she got like death threats online from that role?
Seriously?
Yeah, people were like so mad about it and hated her and her character hated her character so much that they like sent her death threats.
That's a little extreme.
I know. Yeah. And she's like, I didn't like the character either. She's like, she's supposed to be annoying. Like, I did my job.
Right. That's genuinely awful that people treated her like that. Like, she
Yeah.
didn't write the character.
Nope, she didn't. She was just a kid who, like, probably just got a job on a show that she loved and was excited about it, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's very messed up. No, I did not know that happened.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm gonna cry if I don't make it to the stupid fishing place on time.
So, I really, really, really want to go. Hold on, what is it called? I gotta remember. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I gotta Google it real quick. It is, Washington Depot, Connecticut.
Oh yeah, that's the town that was modeled, that Stars Hollow was modeled after, right?
Yeah, I want to go visit there so bad.
Me too. I would love to.
Possibly even live there. Like, because we want to move to that part of the country, so.
That is true. Oh, it'd be so wonderful. Yeah,
I know.
I very, very much love, like, that whole...
Just like the quirky, small town, safe, you know everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just... I love that whole thing.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, I love that
And
show.
I mean, like,
really
we kind of grew up in a town like that, but with a lot more, like, you know, heroin and alcoholics.
And racism.
And racism, yeah. A little less quirk, a little more racism.
Yep. And a lot bigger town.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's still a small
bigger.
town. It's a very small town, but it's not Stars Hollow small.
No. It is cute, though. It's got, like, all the cute little festivals and all the cute little stores and
the
stuff.
little festivals. Yeah, that is one thing that I loved with Gilmore Girls, is all the little festivals that they always had.
Yes, and
Even
everybody in the town was involved, and they would all go to, like, the town meetings. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah, I
God,
really
it's
love
so quaint. I just want that life.
I know. I love that show so much. I really do.
Me too.
So, oh, and one thing that I meant to add is I love the fact that Lorelai bought her own inn and ran her own inn. She went from running the Independence Inn to opening the Dragonfly Inn and having her very own inn. And she brought everybody along with her.
Yep.
And
yeah, it was wonderful.
So, I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on the show? Like, I had so much to say, and I can't believe I'm done saying everything.
I know. I don't know, because I feel like if I really thought about it, I could talk for so long. But I just love it. Like I said, it's my comfort show. Like, it is the best. And, like, it's got, like, drama, but it doesn't have, like, over-the-top unrealistic drama. It's just got, like, family
it has
struggles.
Regular drama.
Yeah. Like, obviously, I can't relate to having, like, a super rich parent who wants me to, you know, whatever, but...
Yeah, but, like...
But I can relate to, like, not wanting to tell your mother everything and, like, not feeling comfortable with this or that and, you know, just...
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the show is very, 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 very... I mean, it's obviously not realistic in a lot of ways, but it's very realistic in other ways.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I wish that they would bring it back. And, I mean, as much as I say I wish that they would bring it back just one more time to wrap it up. No, I want them to bring it back forever, and I never want it to end or stop. And
I know. I feel that way with a lot of shows, but I want them to give, because how are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to tell you that Rory is pregnant and then just, nope, you never see those characters again?
Yep, and then good luck. Figure it out.
She did say that that's how she originally wanted to end the series.
Yep. Yeah, and that was the thing that we didn't mention, is the 9th season of the show was arguably
yeah,
probably
arguably.
the worst season.
It
because
was.
some stuff happened that just
it felt out of character.
It
and
did,
like,
and that was because the creator of the show, Amy Sherman,
Palladino, yeah,
was no longer on the show.
Yep.
And so she was not in control of what happened, and it did not end the way that she wanted it to end.
No.
And she had 3 words that she always knew from the beginning were going to be the final words of the show.
Yep.
And
Mom
they didn't happen.
And pregnant.
Yep. It was mom and pregnant.
And
said
Rory would have
to...
been so much younger.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would have been Logan's baby.
Yeah.
Assuming that she kept them together and, you know, that season 9 went the way season 9 went. And that would have been how the show ended.
Yeah.
And instead...
And in that case, they could have made it so that, like, her and Rory were pregnant together or something.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been, could have been anything, honestly. So she did want to end it on that sort of, I guess, cliffhanger. But instead it ended with Lorelai and Rory sitting in a diner before Rory left for her
college.
campaign.
Or not college, her campaign with like Hillary Clinton or something
with,
like that?
no, it was Obama.
Oh, it was Obama, yeah.
Yeah. Are we ending after this? Because I will not start a new day if we are.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So it ended like that. And I mean, it was a sweet ending. It just had Luke kind of in the background doing his little thing behind the counter and just the two of them sitting there. It was really sweet. It was really fitting. It was a great way to end it. But the way the storylines wrapped up weren't really...
We could totally go do our pickaxe now.
Oh, well, only one of us, though, so we need to double the money anyway, because I want us to both do it at the same time.
Okay.
But so, it didn't end bad or anything. Like, when the show ended, it was a satisfying ending.
Sweet.
It was really
very
sweet. I loved it that final scene was just the two of them with Luke in the background.
Luke threw her the party.
Mm-hmm.
The going to the party.
Yep, and then they just sat in the diner, just the two of them together with Luke in the background, minding his business exactly how... Like, it was fitting. It was really great. It was really, really, really good. I cried, you know, like, it was wonderful. But it wasn't the way the creator wanted it to be. It wasn't her ending. So when they made that reboot, she decided that she was going to end it the way she wanted to end it. And she did. Luke and Lorelai had a surprise wedding. And... you know, they threw it and it all went well and Rory got to say her final 3 words and it, you know.
Yeah, but it was made so messy before that now you're like it can't end that way.
Oh, really? Like, what?
Yeah, like that's the ending now?
And I did like that they brought a lot of people back and they let us see how a lot of people's lives had went and they, you know, I loved it that they brought us back there. And I
looked forward to it so much. And I remember when, like, we were staying at a hotel.
But...
No, I looked forward to it and I was so excited about it and I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But it just, like, this, like that. I was like, are they okay? So is there going to be another one then? Like, yeah. It just felt unfinished and it bothered me a lot. Yeah,
like, it did. It felt unfinished. Like... If the series had ended that way, she would have done it the way she wanted to do it. But she kind of had to work with what she had. Yeah. And, I mean, she did... Maybe she originally had planned on the Mom, I'm Pregnant being her and Logan, and it being Logan's baby, and that's why her and Logan were having this, like, affair, and that's why it ended that way, because, you know...
Yeah, well, because then if she had just... been with Logan and they had just been a couple this whole time, then the Mom, I'm Pregnant would have just been like, oh, okay,
yeah, cool. Exactly, would have been like, congratulations. But since it was what it was a little more like, you're what, you know. So so I get that, but I do wish that we could have more.
Me too.
I hope at some point we can. So well, so that was our I
think they would all be down, so.
Deep dive into Gilmore Girls. And I don't think that there's anything major that we missed. I think we got every single... Either. I mean, we didn't do, like, every plot line and every story. We didn't do the whole Yale thing and her quitting Yale and that. We didn't deep dive into every single story line because we don't have that kind of time. Like, genuinely, Holly and I could probably do an entire series where we did season 1, Gilmore Girls, and talked about it. Season 2.
I absolutely would be down to do that, too.
But, you know.
Maybe we could just start to rewatch it, and every once in a while we could just update on, like...
Yeah, we'll wait till fall, and we'll deep dive into Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, we can rewatch season 1, and then as soon as both of us are done with it, we can be like, hey, you ready to discuss season 1?
Yeah, that's true. We could do it. Do like a deep dive into each season of Gilmore Girls. Yeah, maybe we will at some point. We'll see. But yeah, that was the relationships and the main things that we love and hate.
Mostly we just covered the characters and how we felt about the characters and how we felt about them, and because that's, I mean, obviously that's what makes the show, because the characters are so many of them and so lovable.
And there's so much more. Like, I could have talked forever about Christopher's storyline. We could have talked forever about
well, yeah, if we do the different seasons, we can talk definitely more in depth about each character in each season.
Yeah, exactly. So,
because we didn't even talk about how we felt about the way that Rory and Dean broke up and what happened afterwards.
Well, no, I said that I hated their original breakup because it was bullshit that he got pissed off at her. Like, but the final broke up.
Yeah, like Jess and Rory break up.
Oh yeah, at the dance. Yeah.
So we'll have to cover that.
I know, that was so sad. That was so public. I felt so bad for Rory. She was so sad, even though it was her fault.
It was her fault, and also I got Dean's frustration.
Oh, for sure. She could not have made it more obvious that she was into Jess.
No, but she really could not.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, see, we could keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We could genuinely talk for the rest of our lives about Gilmore Girls, and we will if we don't stop right now.
Yeah. So we'll like I said, I do think we should maybe do the season by season once fall comes, and then just do like a general covering of each.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Okay. Well,
I love Gilmore Girls.
And tomorrow we can do...
Yes, tomorrow we're going to deep dive into The Office.
Yes, which I'm so excited about because that is another favorite show.
Yes. And
it's funny that we have the same top 3 favorite shows, so we can talk about that.
I know, it is funny. So, yeah, tomorrow we're going to deep dive into The Office, and it's going to be the same basic thing where I just wrote down, couples and a few different, storyline things and stuff like that.
I think because that one has... I mean, it has storylines, but it has, less...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one's a little...
cover a few more, of the bigger storylines.
Exactly, yeah, that one's a little bit easier, and, as we talk about, couples and things like that, and, various things that I have written down, we'll be able to branch off into... So, I don't know, it'll be fun. But...
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, if Jay weren't going to be home so early today, we could totally cover The Office.
Yeah, that's all right,
we totally could.
Yeah, that's all right. We can do it tomorrow. No big deal.
All right. All right, well... and everybody, if you're watching this, say happy birthday to Tony in the comments, even though it won't be her birthday anymore.
Yeah, but it's my birthday when we're recording. Yeah, July 28th we're recording. That's my birthday.
You guys anybody who listens to this owes her a late happy birthday.
Yep. This is going to come out on August 2nd, I believe.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Which I kind of wish it was coming out on August 3rd, because then it'd be coming out on Liliana's birthday.
I know.
But that's not when it's scheduled, so whatever. So
maybe people will watch it, the next day.
Yes. Yeah, and if you're watching it on August 3rd, say happy birthday to my niece.
Yeah. Oh, she's turning 16.
I know, I don't even want to think about that. All right. Well, I will talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Anyway, that was the Gilmore Girls deep dive. I love that show so much. Again, if you made it this far and for some reason you watched this video and you've never watched the show and we just spoiled everything, go watch it. It's okay that we spoiled it. Watch it anyway. It is a great show. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Thanks for watching. Bye.